Hi art lovers, this is Jenny at Julia Baby Jen, and today I am going to go over my Journal 52 book. Week 7 is When I Grow Up, which was a really fun prompt. So you could do it now, like what you want to be now when you get older. Some people are not in their desired professions. I don't know if I'm in my desired, but I like my job, so I really haven't been thinking something that I would like to be instead of. Right now I'm happy with what I'm doing. So I kind of went back to when I was a kid and what I wanted to be, and I changed my mind constantly on this. There were so many things I wanted to be when I was a kid, and it was kind of crazy how many different things I wanted to be, and it totally depended on the day. But one common theme was music. I always wanted to do something with music, which kind of is surprising to me that I didn't, because I really, really, really wanted to when I was a kid, but I didn't pursue it enough, I guess. So I went with the music theme, and this was my page I did for this. So the background is collaged music paper, and then this actually is a napkin that I collaged on. And I just added some black paint, the black soot paint all around the edges to finish it. The piano I hand drew and then painted on another piece of paper and then put it on here. And the little, the font, the lettering is from my computer. So I just listed some different things that I wanted to be that had to do with music when I was a kid. First I wanted to be a composer. I don't know what order these are, but composer, a lyricist, a musician, a pianist. I didn't put violinist on here, but I wanted to be that even though I didn't know how to play the violin. I just thought it was cool. My daughter's a violinist instead. Which, yes, I kind of pushed her into it. But she actually really loves it, so I don't push her anymore. And then just a virtuoso. So yeah, I just wanted to do something in music. And I did the piano for representation of it because that was actually the only thing I took really formally, formal lessons on was a piano. I took lessons for 5 years, all through high school, and I really, really loved it. And I wish I would have continued taking them. Maybe someday I will. But yeah, so that was my When I Grow Up. So that was all I was really going to do on that prompt because I really liked how that turned out. I really like black and white, so I thought it would turn out really cool. But I started doing another abstract piece because I was still kind of in that abstract zone. And then as I was doing it, I kind of thought, you know, this would be a good When I Grow Up too. So I did another When I Grow Up for some other things that I wanted to do. And it started as an abstract and kind of snowballed. So here's my other When I Grow Up. So this is actually collage paper. It's decorative paper. The painting I just free did on the background. I don't think there was any method or technique to it. I just kept playing around until I got what I wanted. And then the circles I actually did on there with gesso. And I used the bottom of a cup, actually, I think, for my pattern for that. And then I added some really cool paint. I mixed that, and I'm not really sure. I wish I'd written down which colors I mixed to get it to that color, because I don't even know. I think I used like 4 different colors to get to that color, and I really like it. And then I add a little bit of white and yellow to the circles to make them pop a little more. So yeah, so it says mom. I always wanted to be a mom, which I am. Artist, gymnast, writer, singer, and chef. And those were common things when I was a kid that I wanted to be. I also wanted to be I wanted to be an ice skater at one point, but I don't even ice skate, so who knows. So those were probably more the actual things that I probably could have been if I really, and of course the mom I already am. So, and I am a chef right now, so go figure that. Week 8 is found poetry, and this one was, I think, one of the most fun prompts we've done so far. Found poetry, I had so much fun with this, and I'm probably going to do more. I got a whole bunch of people to send me. I don't know if you remember when I showed the mail video, all those words people sent me. That's what I was kind of thinking. So I wanted to do more of this. So found poetry, you can either, you can do it different ways, but basically you just find words and put them together to make a poem. You don't actually make it up in your head. You use real words written down somewhere. So most people just go through like magazines and find cool words and make it really cool. Either they make a formal poem or just put words everywhere and just make it look cool and add some art to it. Or you can take a book page, a page out of a book, and circle words until it makes a cool poem and black out the rest of it. So I did both methods. The first one I did was where I actually went and looked for words. So this is my page, and these are all just magazine words. So embrace the day, discover everything, be unforgettable, reach for what you love, face every shade of you. So yeah, these were all just words I found and they went together really well. So I had fun with that. The background I just free painted, blues and yellows, the flowers from a magazine, and then I added ribbon to it, and some paper flowers. So this one was pretty quick and easy to do, but it was really fun and it really turned out beautiful. I really liked it. Then I did another one that I think turned out even better. I liked it better anyway. This one I did the black out the page method, and this is my journal 2 spread, so I have to scooch back so you can see it. Oh, hopefully you can see all that. There we go. Should be good. So this one is actually a page from a book that I'm altering. Doing an altered book right now, and it's a Sweet Valley High book. It's the Sweet Valley High book for when they're grown up. And I read it, and it was pretty good, but I'm not going to reread it, and I almost donated it, but I like the size of the book. It's like perfect for an altered book, so I decided to do that. Well, when you alter a book, you need to rip out a bunch of pages, otherwise it gets too thick. So I ripped out a bunch of pages, and so I picked one of the pages and I made a poem. And then I took that and made it into my spread. So I'm going to have to look at this because I can't remember off the top of my head. So for the background, I took some more book pages from the same book and glued those on for my background. Then I painted over all of that, basically. So the peach color you see, I gessoed that and then painted that, and then I added the gray is, I think it's just gray paint. I don't think that was distress paint. That was gray paint. I did add black distress paint over all of that. Then I glued on my actual poem. Then over here, I found a silhouette of a girl that kind of made me think of the poem and glued her on. And then I wrote on the words of the actual poem, so you could see it a little better than in the other page. And then I just added some fun decorative papers. I cut out the birds, and then I added some fun paper butterflies on the top, just to add a little color to it. And the poem, I don't know if you could read it. I titled it "Who's That Girl," which wasn't in the page. That's just kind of what I thought it sounded like. She was narrow, tiny, almost song-like, voice so calm, composed into something too personal. So that was the words that I circled in the page. So that was my other found poetry page. Week 9 was color swatch. So basically, you picked a color palette and made whatever you wanted with it. And I couldn't decide how I wanted to do it. Usually if I pick colors, I go on colorlovers.com and they have all different kinds of palettes. Great ideas for different kinds of color combinations. And so if I want to do that, usually I do that. But for this one, actually, I went off of my quilt that my mom just made me this last Christmas because I really love the colors in it. And it's greens and teals and browns and a little bit of blue. Not very much. So, and there's different shades of the teals, the browns, and the greens. It's more of an olive green, but there's different variations of lightness in the quilt. So that's kind of what I went with. And to do this, I pretty much just stenciled layer after layer of paint. I don't know how many layers of paint I have on here, but lots. And then some of them I regested over and then did more layers. So, and then I had a couple of cardstock papers that went really well with the theme. So I added those over the top and then wrote my title. So this basically was just fun with stencils and paint, basically, is what I did, and it's called Peacock Paradise. And if you look, you can see kind of the peacock feathers on the top. Most of it was flowers, the stencils, but I did layer after layer after layer because I just really wanted it to look like deep in the jungle-y type of look, I guess. So that's what I ended up with for my week 9. And as far as how much I like it. I like the colors. It came out a bit messy, which isn't a big deal. I don't really like it when it's really messy looking, though. Usually I like clean or clear-cut lines. So this was kind of brave for me to do this because I don't normally like do that. I usually have, it's very clear-cut what I've done. So to be kind of just free and make a big mess, it's not normally how I paint. So this is a little adventurous for me. All right, week 10 was called Art for a Cause, and you could do this in a couple different ways. You could either showcase a cause that you support, or the whole idea behind the prompt was there's so many people I've heard lately, well, not just lately, but pretty much since I joined, who post stuff and then like bring themselves down almost, like, oh, this isn't very good, or I'm not a very good artist, but here you go. And you know, it's a little I feel bad for them. I mean, I don't think of myself as the greatest artist either, but that's not what this is really about. Being art journaling has nothing to do with being like a really good artist. Nothing at all. Anybody can do it. That's the whole point of it. So it's a little sad to hear people say stuff like that, I guess. And so our Shelly, I think, felt the same way. So she said, there's a few people that had been posting, I'm not even sure why I do this. There's no point to it. I just do it and no one appreciates it. No one in my family thinks it's cool. Nobody likes it if I show it to them, or they're afraid to show it to anybody. And so what's the point of doing it? And so that was kind of the other thought of it. Maybe you could put why you do art, you know, what your cause is. So that's kind of what I focused on. And I hear her, actually. I kind of understand what she's saying, and most people that I've talked to who art journal have the same issue. A lot of people don't get it. So they just, it's a newer concept, a newer thing, and it's not like, it's a little bit like scrapbooking, but with art. So like when I used to scrapbook a long time ago, people kind of accepted that because scrapbooking is about taking your pictures and putting them in a book so they look really cool, and protecting them and preserving your pictures was kind of the whole point of it. So it has a practical purpose. What are you going to do with all your pictures? Well, you're going to make a really cool book and put them all in. So it had an actual purpose to it. If you sew or quilt, you're making something that has a purpose. I can't think of any other, but any other kind of artist medium, I guess, has a purpose, and art journaling doesn't really have a specified purpose. Most people who do it because it's fun and freeing, and it's really pretty easy, and it's just really, really fun. And that's why most people do it. It's a hobby, it's a way to have fun and relax. But I honestly think it's really good for people to try something that's outside their realm of what they're used to. And art journaling for a lot of people is that thing. And I just think it's good for your brain and your soul to stretch yourself just a little bit and try things that you wouldn't normally do. And especially if it has no practical purpose. I think that's important. I think we get too caught up in the, oh, it's okay that I spend my time doing this because this will come out of it. And it's like anything else. Oh, she gardens. Oh, she cooks. Oh, she sews. Oh, whatever. It's practical. It has a practical purpose to it. But at the same time, I mean, if you're cooking, not everything you cook, if you do that as a hobby, is something that's practical either. Same with sewing or gardening or even crafting. Just trying to think of some things off the top of my head. I'm going on and on about this, and I'm sorry, but I just wanted to put this out there because it bugs me when people try to demean you for doing something that you love or that's fun for you, but it's not a practical purpose to it. So now no one in my specific that's close to me has done that to me, I would say. My girls think it's the coolest thing ever, and they go crazy over what I make. That's not surprising to me. My boys don't really care one way or the other, and that's not surprising to me either, because it's not their thing, and that's okay. My husband was really not very supportive of it to start with. He thought I was kind of nuts, but now he's actually getting a little more into it. He likes it when I'm creative, and I think it finally clicked that I was being creative and having fun. And when I'm having fun, it's like anybody else that's saying, if mama's not happy, nobody's happy. It's the same thing. When I'm happy, you know, everybody else in the house is happy, and he's a lot happier when I'm happy. It's just how it is. So he's finally, I think, caught that connection. So now it doesn't really matter to him if he likes it or not, because he doesn't have an artistic eye either. And a lot of it, he's just like, what the heck did you just make? And he wouldn't try to be insulting purposely, but you can tell that he doesn't really like it. But that's okay. I don't do it for him. I do it for me. So that was kind of the whole purpose behind this prompt. And I'm sorry I talk so long about it, but I think it's really good for people to do things that don't have a practical purpose, but that stretch your boundaries, and you know, it's good for you. So my art for a cause is this. This is what I did, and it's called Art is My Zen, which is so true. I don't think I ever relax more than when I'm sitting at the table painting. I can't honestly think of anything that relaxes me more. I love to read. Reading is like probably my favorite thing to do in my free time. I probably like reading more than doing art, honestly. I really love to read. And it relaxes me, but at the same time, it's a totally different experience, because when you read, or at least when I read, it's like kind of, and I'm sorry, my phone's going off. So reading for me, I just kind of absorb myself in the story, and it's kind of like a way to leave reality behind. It's like an escape, which everybody needs that. That's why people watch TV or watch movies or listen to music, any of that kind of stuff. It kind of is like an escape for you, and reading is that for me, which, you know, is relaxing and really fun, and I really, really love it. But I kind of like the art thing too. I think it relaxes me a little bit more, because I'm still actually present while I'm doing it. It's not really an escape from reality. It is in a way, but it's a whole different thing. I'm actually aware of what I'm doing and aware of everything, and so it's more awareness, I guess. So it's a whole different kind of relaxation, and I really love it. I always have. So that's kind of my cause, I guess. Art is my zen. It relaxes me. It centers me. It makes me feel better. It really does. So for this one, this was a really simple page. It's just watercolor blue, plain old watercolor blue on the background, and then this is some clip art that I cut out that I really love, the rock stacks. And then I did a little bit of Japanese writing with my paintbrush, and this is one way to say Zen in Japanese. There's several different ways, but I liked this one. And then I wrote underneath of it, so in English. And then I just added some fun flowers to finish it off. So it's very simple, which is what I wanted, because that's the whole point of Zen, is it's simple and freeing and relaxing and just calming. So that was my art for a cause. All right, week 11 was a really fun one. Stars. And so this one was really fun, because it was basically, how could you interpret stars in art? You know, you could make anything you wanted based off of that. A lot of people quoted things, so that was what I started with. I started with a quote. So this is my official, that went in my journal, week 11. And so I did The Fault in Our Stars. So I did one of the best quotes in the book, from The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. The background, actually, it turned out really simple, which is what I wanted, because the cover is really simple, and that's kind of what I went off of. But the background actually took a lot of work. It took hours to make that background. It It's basically a mix of watercolor and acrylics, lots and lots of water, and table salt to give it that star effect. When you put salt, and actually kosher salts too, big kosher salt pieces, you can still kind of see them in the paint. When you put salt on paint, especially water-based, and the more water, the more you'll get the effect. So watercolors are great. It makes like a starburst effect with the salt, and then you can brush it off when the paint dries. I brushed a lot of the salt off, but I left some on to give it that cool look. So yeah, this is, and then yeah, so I would apply a layer of paint, add a whole bunch of water. So the paint was like, the more water you add, the better the effect is. You want the paint almost running off your page. You want lots of water. So I added lots of water and then put a whole bunch of salt on it and then let it dry for a couple hours and then brushed off some of the salt. Then another layer. And I pretty much just did that in stages. I didn't do over the entire page. I did different parts of the page to make it look cooler. But yeah, it took a really long time to do, but it was really easy and it was really fun and I really liked doing it. It turned out really pretty. So that was my first page. Actually, it's my second, but it's my official star page. I had just made, before she announced the prompt. Oh, I gotta find my book. I had just made, before she announced the prompt, something that actually had to do with stars a little bit. It was actually a sky for my book journal. And so I decided, I kind of included that too, even though I wasn't really doing it for the prompt. And this is actually based off of the Under the Never Sky series by Veronica Rossi. So this is that page. So this one was kind of the same technique, but I did a lot different colors. This is more acrylic than watercolor, so it doesn't have the same effect. So, and I didn't use kosher salt, I just used table salt. So it's really hard to see the stars in it, which was kind of the whole point because of the cloud cover is kind of the whole point. If you've read the books, you understand what I'm talking about. And then I added a couple of images. I added a few of my favorite quotes. I won't be chased by the sky, and love is a rebellious bird that nobody can tame. And then I cut out a couple of, just on some cool paper, some birds which stand for Peregrine, one of the main characters, and of course the quote. So that's kind of what I ended up with for that one. Alright, we're up to the last week that I have so far this year, and I'll do an update later on in the year with a few more weeks. Week 12 was A Day in the Life of You. So this one was the most challenging actually to me so far, because every day for me is different. There's some elements of it that are the same. So I kind of just went with that, and I did more of a journal page than really an art page. This is much more journalist, and a lot more people did this too. A lot of people actually just did it in their planners or their journals. I did an actual page. I basically just wrote on some note cards, some things that happen in my daily life, depending on the day, and then I'll show you the page here in a minute, but I'll read what I have. Mondays, Fridays, and every other weekend, I work as a chef in an assisted living facility for seniors. I didn't put that on there, but this consists of me making supper for 30 residents, serving it, and then cleaning up. I'm also always baking treats for their coffee hour. On Wednesdays, I also help serve and clean up lunch. Every weekday morning, I get my daughter Tess up and ready for school. On Tuesdays and Thursdays afternoons, we always hang out together and do stuff together. I'm a 4-H leader for all 4 of my kids' club. I can't talk today. I'm losing my voice, and I got 2 more videos to do. I'm a 4-H leader for all 4 of my kids' club. 2 Tuesday evenings a month consist of 4-H events and an occasional Saturday. I can't read today. I don't know what my deal is. Every single day I start, it's because my handwriting sucks. Every single day I start my day off with at least 3 cups of coffee and catch up on my social sites online. That happens every day. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is. I'm an events coordinator and mod for my favorite group on Goodreads, David Estes Fan Group, and YA Book Lovers Unite. I have stuff to do daily with this usually. I love listening to music, and I do this daily, and in the car when I'm making art, or with my headphones when I'm falling asleep, which is very common for me to do that. In my free time, so this is time where I don't have stuff sexually scheduled, I read a lot. I make art. I journal, either writing or art. I watch movies with my kids. It's a constant thing we do. I love movies. I usually only watch TV shows occasionally and only on Netflix. Right now I'm watching Downton Abbey. And outdoorsy stuff when it's nice. Hiking, canoeing, fishing are my favorites. So that's kind of the kind of things that you would find me doing. I didn't put the mundane stuff like cleaning my house and stuff like that, but you get the idea. This is kind of the stuff that I do. So this is how my page came out. And for the background on this one, I did some jelly printing. This was my first official journal page with jelly printing. So I did like 4 different colors and layers of jelly printing behind it. And then I glued on my note cards. And then I added a paint glaze in different colors that I mixed up to each card. And then I covered it all with a pink pen for the title and just added some doodles and things like that with some pink pens. So it was a pretty simple page and it didn't take me very long, but it was really fun to do. And this is one of those things that occasionally if I do journaling things, it's kind of fun because I always have this to show what I did in a day of my life was like when I was 36. Because it does change. And that is it for my Journal 52 for right now. Just 12 weeks so far, and as we keep going, later on I'll probably do an update so you can see what else I have made for my book. Again, I'll leave the links below. I would definitely check out our blog, and if you want to check out everybody else's cool stuff, join the group. Even if you don't end up doing anything, but really, this is a really laid-back group, and just because you join doesn't mean you have to do every week. There's lots of people who only do the ones that they really want to do. And a lot of people do them out of order and just whenever they have time, and that's totally cool. It's totally whatever you want it to be. So that's one of the fun things of the group. I hope you all have a good day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.